Lila Harrington, the only daughter of the wealthy Harrington family, had always lived a life of privilege. Her father, Richard Harrington, owned one of the largest ranches in the county, and everyone in town knew the Harrington name. He had high expectations for Lila. He wanted her to marry a wealthy, influential man who would uphold the family legacy. But Lila's heart had other plans. She found herself drawn to Tom Miller, a young, humble farmer living on the outskirts of town. His small farm was simple, but it thrived under his care. He worked tirelessly in the fields, fed his livestock with dedication, and treated the land with respect. Lila admired him from afar for months, fascinated by his honesty and the quiet strength in his work. Unlike the wealthy suitors her father introduced, Tom didn't care about money, status, or social appearances. One crisp autumn afternoon, Lila gathered the courage to speak to him at the edge of his property. The sun cast long shadows over the golden fields, and the air smelled faintly of fresh soil and fallen leaves. They walked along the dirt road, sharing stories of their lives, hopes, and dreams. "Lila," Tom said gently, "I don't care about your family name or wealth. What matters to me is your heart, and the life we can build together." His sincerity warmed her more than any luxury ever had. Encouraged by Tom's words, Lila decided to tell her father about her feelings. The moment she mentioned Tom's name, Richard Harrington's face darkened. "You would throw away everything we've built for this poor farmer," he shouted, pacing the polished floors of the grand Harrington mansion. Lila's heart ached at the anger in his eyes, but she refused to back down. "Papa, love and hard work matter more than wealth," she said, her voice steady despite the tears in her eyes. The argument escalated quickly, and Richard, in a fit of pride and fury, disowned her. With a heavy heart, Lila left the mansion that evening, carrying only a small suitcase in her determination. She traveled to Tom's farmhouse, which stood quietly among rolling hills and golden fields. The wooden structure was modest, with a small barn, a few crops, and a couple of livestock animals. Though simple, the farmhouse held a warmth she had never felt in her father's grand mansion. Together, Lila and Tom began their new life. She learned to plant seeds, water crops, and care for animals, while Tom guided her patiently through every step. Lila's creativity and energy transformed the farm. Rows of vegetables were neatly organized, the barn was spotless, and the farmhouse became cozy and welcoming. Days turned into weeks, and Lila felt a sense of freedom she had never known. Each morning, as the golden sun rose over the fields, she worked alongside Tom, laughing at their small victories and sharing the quiet satisfaction of honest labor. For the first time in her life, she realized that love, hard work, and determination were far more valuable than wealth or family expectations. Her heart was full, and she knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, she and Tom would face them together. This was only the beginning of their journey, a life built on courage, love, and hope. Life on the farm was a world away from the luxury Lila had known at the Harrington mansion. Every morning, she woke to the crisp scent of autumn air and the soft crowing of roosters. Together, she and Tom tended to the crops, checked the livestock, and repaired fences when necessary. The work was hard and exhausting, but it brought a sense of purpose Lila had never felt before. She discovered a deep satisfaction in planting seeds and watching them grow, in feeding animals and seeing them thrive. The farm, simple as it was, became a place of learning, laughter, and small victories. Tom patiently taught Lila every aspect of running a farm. He showed her how to plant corn in straight rows, how to rotate crops, and how to care for the chickens and cows. Lila, in turn, brought creativity and organization to the work. She designed a system for the vegetable garden, keeping everything neat and accessible. She decorated the farmhouse to make it warm and welcoming, turning the small space into a home full of charm. Their partnership flourished. Where Tom brought experience and patience, Lila brought innovation and energy. Slowly, the farm began to show real signs of progress. Word of their hard work and success spread through the town. Neighbors whispered about how the young couple's small farm was thriving, producing some of the freshest, healthiest produce anyone had seen. But despite these stories, Lila's father remained skeptical. Richard Harrington could not imagine that a poor farmer and his daughter could achieve any meaningful success. "It's only luck," he muttered when neighbors mentioned the farm. "It won't last. Yet his curiosity began to stir, gnawing at his pride and making him wonder if perhaps he had underestimated them. As the weeks passed, the golden hues of autumn transformed the fields. Corn grew tall and golden, pumpkin patches glowed with ripeness, and the wheat swayed gently in the wind. Lila and Tom worked tirelessly, side by side, gathering baskets of produce and preparing the harvest. They enlisted the help of neighbors and children, turning harvest into a small community event. Laughter, chatter, and the sound of baskets clinking together filled the air. The farm was no longer just a home or workplace, it had become a hub of energy and life. Through it all, Lila felt a quiet satisfaction. Every basket of vegetables, every pumpkin, and every golden stalk of wheat represented her and Tom's determination, resilience, and love. She also knew that one piece of the puzzle remained missing, her father's recognition. Would Richard ever see the fruits of their labor with his own eyes? Would he understand that true wealth was not measured by money or land, but by love, dedication, and hard work? The farm had transformed their lives, not only through material success but also through the strength of their bond. Lila and Tom had created something meaningful together, a life full of purpose, joy, and hope. Now, all that remained was for Richard Harrington to see what they had accomplished and, perhaps, to finally understand that his daughter's choice had been the right one all along. The crisp autumn air carried the scent of ripe crops and fallen leaves as Lila and Tom prepared for another busy day on the farm. Golden wheat swayed in the wind, pumpkin patches glowed in the sunlight, and rows of vegetables were ready for harvest. Every corner of the farm reflected months of hard work, love, and determination. For Lila, the satisfaction of seeing their efforts bear fruit was immense, but a quiet hope lingered in her heart. Her father might finally recognize what she and Tom had achieved. That afternoon, a familiar figure appeared at the farm gate. Richard Harrington had come. He stood there, tall and imposing, his eyes scanning the fields in disbelief. The neat rows of crops, the organized barns, and the healthy livestock told him a story he hadn't expected, that his daughter and the humble farmer could build something extraordinary together. Lila and Tom approached, their hands still dusty from the morning's work, smiles on their faces, hearts pounding with anticipation. "Papa," Lila said softly, "you're here." For the first time since he had disowned her, she felt a mixture of nervousness and hope. Richard said nothing at first, just walked slowly along the fields, taking in every detail. He noticed the perfect alignment of the corn, the ripe pumpkins stacked neatly, and the wheat swaying gently in the breeze. He saw neighbors and children helping with the harvest, laughter and cooperation filling the air. Slowly, awe replaced his anger, and pride crept into his expression. Finally, he stopped in front of them. You did all of this?" he asked, his voice filled with a mix of astonishment and respect. Lila nodded, and Tom confirmed with a humble smile. Richard's eyes glistened as he realized the truth. This success was not luck, nor could it be bought with money. It was earned through determination, teamwork, and love. His daughter had chosen wisely, and together, they had proven that dedication and heart mattered more than wealth or social status. Richard stepped forward and embraced Lila, holding her tightly. "I was wrong," he admitted, his voice thick with emotion. "I underestimated you, and I misjudged your choice. You've made me proud." Turning to Tom, he extended a hand, shaking it firmly. "And you," he said with a smile, "you've earned my respect. Thank you for loving my daughter and for building this life together." Lila felt tears of relief and joy fill her eyes. After months of struggle and uncertainty, her family was whole again, and love had triumphed over pride. That evening, the farm became a scene of quiet celebration. Neighbors and friends gathered to admire the harvest and share in the couple's success. Richard helped organize the produce, and laughter filled the air. The golden sunlight bathed the fields, creating a warm glow over the reunited family. For Lila and Tom, the farm was no longer just a livelihood, it was a testament to their love, resilience, and partnership. In the end, Richard Harrington learned a valuable lesson. True wealth comes not from money or social standing, but from love, dedication, and unity. Lila and Tom's journey had transformed not only the farm but also their hearts, forging a family stronger than any legacy or fortune. The harvest was more than crops, it was a harvest of understanding, acceptance, and enduring love.